Oh, hi, yes, and hello, Tabletop Arts Fun friends, all of you in chat, all of you watching from the future in YouTube. I hope things are better a couple days from now, because today hasn't been very good. Until now, because I am about to rescue you in two ways. First, with the excitement of sharing our wonderful hobby of tabletop role-playing games, and second, by allowing you to experience the wisdom of two delightfully wonderful, volunteered out of nowhere, 40 email long chain, making sure everything was clarified and perfect, incredibly patient when I took too long to get back to those emails, and on top of all that, they happen to be involved with the internet's largest tabletop role-playing game store, and I don't know the details, but I think also maybe the largest VTT. I am joined tonight by Cage and Brooke from Roll20/DriveThru RPG. We'll be bringing them up onto screen now. Say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
I am reasonably certain that everyone in chat can hear you, but if they cannot hear you, they should tell me right now. And I will attempt to fix that. But while we wait for chat to confirm / deny, please, by all means, introduce yourselves if you feel the desire to do so.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cage. I use she, hers pronouns. I'm the partner relations lead. I'm specifically working with DriveThru RPG publishers, but also our Roll20 marketplace publishers.
Yay! My name is Brooke. I am the community manager at Roll20. I used to be a DriveThru RPG publisher relations rep, and I'm excited to be here and talk to y'all today.
I had the great joy of soliciting their expertise for tonight's topic, finding success on DriveThru RPG. As we know, tabletop role-playing games in general are a bit of like an oral tradition mystery. No one learns by themselves. There's just tidbits of wisdom handed down from GM to player, who becomes a GM to the player. And the same is true for publishing. There's actually not a lot of places you can go. There's no forum or website where you can be like, how do I be successful in selling my thing? We're always just scrambling between Reddit threads, or do people still use Quora? Is that a thing? Or like you might get invited to
Ask Jeeves.
or you might get invited to like the one Discord server of 40 that are all generally around the same topic. But Brooke and Cage have been kind enough to come here, hang out with me, and more importantly, hang out with you. They have prepared a presentation. I am going to pray to the old gods and the new that I can set it up correctly on our OBS. But I'm going to stop talking. We'll do that in just a moment. I'm going to set you all loose. They're here to hear your wisdom, not my banter. So, those in the audience, hang out just a second. We've said hello. Back in a minute.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome on in to Digital Selling Tools on DriveThru RPG. As we just already discussed and can do quick intros again for those of you just joining us, I'm Cage. I use she, hers pronouns, and I'm the partner relations lead at Roll20 and DriveThru RPG. And I'm here with...
I'm Brooke. I also use she, her pronouns, and I am the community manager at Roll20.
We're going to talk with y'all about a few different things. So a lot of the conversation that we're going to have today is going to be under the assumption that either you're already a publishing partner with us or you're interested in publishing on DriveThru RPG, and you're wanting a little bit more information. So some of our content here will be directed a little bit more towards people who are already established or are like working towards establishing themselves as a publishing partner. But we know that we'll be doing a Q&A at the end of this. So if you're not quite at that point yet, and if any questions come up, please feel free to post your questions in chat. It'll probably be easiest for Aaron to find them later if you like prepend it with question in all caps, so that way they can be more easily pulled out. But yeah, without further ado, Brooke, do you want to talk to us about how to make a cool partner page?
Yeah, so all of these tips are really great if you already have a catalog of products, but even if you're just getting started, knowing this as a foundation is going to put you in a really good place once you continue to create content consistently. So we will start off with the partner page. This is your shop front on DriveThru RPG. It's where all of your uploaded products will live, allowing customers to peruse all of your products at a glance. The most important elements of this page are going to be your publisher name, your logo, and subcategories if you are releasing multiple product lines or types of products. So a question I got a lot when I was working as a DriveThru partner rep was, what should my publisher name be? Should it be my real name, a fake name, something more broad? It can be anything. We have seen people who use their real first and last name. We have seen people use a pen name, and also more broad names like Oddity Press or Artels Orient. It can be anything, but you can also change your publisher name at any time by submitting a ticket to our partner relations team. So if you change your mind, feel free to reach out. Onto the logo, this should be easily readable in light and dark mode. Our site supports both, so be sure to toggle between both to see what a potential customer might see. You might find that your logo is disappearing in dark mode, which you don't want when people are viewing your products. This also applies to subcategory icons. So subcategories are a way you can group similar product types together. For example, if you release modules and art pack assets and also VTT supported products, you could create a subcategory for each one of these. That will make it easier for customers to navigate your partner page if you have a ton of products published. And you want to make sure that all of these icons are easily readable on dark mode and light mode as well. On to product pages. This is your chance to capture a customer's attention with an eye-grabbing cover, a compelling description, and a preview of your product. And I'll also say, to go back one step for the partner page, that's customers can navigate to it by clicking on your name if they're already looking at a product. So your product page may be the first place a publisher or a customer even sees what you're offering. So we'll start with the cover. Your cover is essential. It's often the first impression that a customer has of your work and what you do. And you want to be sure your cover translates well to a thumbnail size. The title should be easy to read, even at a smaller size. This is what people are going to see when they're browsing the DriveThru RPG homepage, for example. They're all really small, and you want to make sure that it catches people's attention, even when it's tiny. Second, if you have any branding or logos that are unique to you, you should add them here. A lot of publishers will add a DriveThru RPG best-selling medal icon once they achieve it to their cover image. That's a really good way to build credibility and also capture attention, especially when they're really big and you're proud of your accomplishments and you should show them off. Finally, we recommend using appealing art, typography, or other elements to build your cover. While many of our favorite covers use original artwork, we know not everyone has a massive budget for art, especially if you're just getting started, which is totally fine. We recommend using free programs like Canva, which can still be used to create really aesthetically pleasing designs. And you can also use stock art, public domain art, and stock photography. We have a Help Center article that compiles a ton of free resources that I will post in the chat. Highly recommend taking from those sources, tweaking them, and editing them to be unique to you. Your cover, lastly, should encapsulate what your product is all about and show at a glance. A customer should be able to see, like, is this fantasy? Is it space opera? Is it funny? Is it action-packed? All of these things at a glance will help a customer determine whether they're going to click into your product page or not. And once they do click onto your product page, we can next talk about previews. So on DriveThru, you can select a certain number of pages within your product to be visible to customers. This is what we call the PDF preview. It will display with this sample file watermark that you can see, but it does give customers an insight into the quality of the work and can show them a taste of what will be inside. What we recommend including is the credits, a table of contents, and the first few pages of your product. Additionally, if you've run an actual play of your game, or if any creators have reviewed your game before, you can embed YouTube videos within the product description. And that's a great way to show off your title in action, especially if someone's reviewed it or is showing it and showing them having fun using it. We always recommend including a PDF preview for any product that you publish on DriveThru. It's the best way to give customers an idea of what they'll get if they buy it. And last but not least, we will talk about your product description. So product description is a place I've seen a lot of publishers go wrong, and there are some common misconceptions. So we'll dive into all of that right now. We have found that customers more often than not will actually read the product description from top to bottom. So even if you think no one's going to read this, do not skip this step. It's really important. So your product description is your chance to hook the user. It will provide them with all the information that they need to know that your product is right for them and that they should buy it. So you want to include information like the type of product it is. Is it a core rulebook? Is it an adventure scenario, a map pack? And also you want to state clearly what system it's designed for, if any. Is this an original system? Is it for Dungeons & Dragons 5e? What is included in the product is also going to be important to mention. So this product is, 5 chapters long. It'll take adventurers from level 1 to level 5. All of that is information that a GM or a player will want to see before they hit add to cart. And last but not least, you would also want to include why someone should buy it. Tell them why they should buy it. Tell them why it's awesome. You design something great, and don't be afraid to highlight what it is that is so great about it. We also recommend adding page spreads or interior art to your description. This will help break up the text so it's not just a big wall, and it's more visually attention grabbing. So if you have commissioned any art pieces, or if you just have, maybe take a screenshot of a page spread and just throw that into your description somewhere, it'll show users at a glance what your product is going to look like on the inside and get them excited to see more. If you publish more than one product on DriveThru, you can utilize footers to link between products. You might use a footer to say something like, do you enjoy this product? Here's even more like it. And you can also include thumbnails of your other work. You might have seen this already on the DMs Guild, especially. I see a lot of publishers do this. So don't forget to use the footer to link back to products once you start publishing more than one. And, keep in mind a customer who's a fan of one of your products will probably be a fan of more of your products. So help them access that content even easier. And last, be sure when you're uploading your product that all of the information you enter is as specific as possible. So one of the most common pitfalls that I will see publishers fall into is checking off all of the genre filters and a ton of different game systems, even if it doesn't apply to their specific product because they're hoping to appear in more searches. This is a mistake because a customer who might not be interested in your product might find it, buy it by accident, get frustrated. The happiest customer is going to be a customer who purchases your product because they are informed and aware of exactly what it is. And so, these are the customers that will leave you great reviews. And these are the people who will come back for more of your future content. So be as accurate as possible when you're filling in the details like the game system, the genre, anything that when you're first entering your product in, you'll want to be sure that's filled out correctly. So that is how to set up your product pages and partner pages for the most success. And this is basically the way that a customer will be introduced to your work. So be sure to put love and effort and care into it, and customers will see that and will enjoy more of what you put out. And now I will pass it over to Cage to talk to you about crowdfunding tools.
Yeah. So, thanks, Brooke. That was really awesome. I always feel like I learned something too. Every time we do this, even though I helped write the slides, I'm like, yes, that is a good point. I need to remember to do that to my own products. So crowdfunding with DriveThru RPG, if you're not familiar, you can use us for fulfilling your crowdfunding projects. So we have a couple of different tips and tricks and things of note when you're looking to use DriveThru RPG to fulfill your crowdfunding project. So we do provide digital and print-on-demand fulfillment options. So whether you're just providing people with a PDF, maybe some map packs, or whatever other kind of digital downloads, STL files, things like that, those are all things that you can fulfill digitally. But we also have print-on-demand options. So whether you want to print softcover or hardcover books, we also have a variety of different cards, map tiles, poster prints, things like that. You can fulfill that through us as well. Something of note with that, though, that we do see publishers not infrequently fall into is that we are not able to split printing and shipping costs with our fulfillment tool. So sometimes publishers will set up their crowdfunding campaign and they'll have it set up so that way the backer is purchasing the tier in order to get the printing costs taken care of, and then the publisher hopes that the customer will be able to pay for the shipping costs then when it's fulfilled. We're not able to do that. So either you have to decide whether you're going to collect the printing costs and the shipping costs right there in your crowdfunding campaign, or we also have a tool where when you fulfill, the customer sends an at cost link. So they only pay the printing costs and then the shipping costs on top of that. So they're not paying for like the retail cost of it. They're paying the printing costs and then the shipping is included or is added in the checkout then as well. So something to keep in mind when you're building out your tiers to make sure that you are either not including the printing and shipping costs or including that in your tier system, and then you'll be paying for that when you fulfill. Something else of note is that while we allow for offsite URLs to be used within purchase notes, so like after a customer has purchased a title, you can include offsite URLs like to your website or to a newsletter or things like that. But they are prohibited within our customer email tool. So for example, like Kickstarter, Crowdfunder, BackerKit, all of those are not, they're prohibited within the tool that we provide publishers in order to reach out to folks who have purchased games from them in the past. But we do have a policy where our team will send out up to 2 emails to your customers on your behalf per campaign. So as long as you give us up to 2 business days notice, we're happy to send out those emails for you. And we also have a little bit of a tip and trick kind of for helping you make sure that that email is providing is capturing as many customers as you can. So one of the things that we recommend is to publish a free quick start or primer on DriveThru RPG for your campaign. And so if you have a game that you're trying to fund, having a chapter or a quick start that you can provide to customers for free or even as pay what you want on DriveThru RPG, and then you link to that product on your campaign page with your affiliate ID and source code, which I'm actually going to get to in a future slide. But that's something that I want to note there as well. And then anytime that somebody purchases that quick start, even if it's free, they become your customer. And then that way, when you're requesting the customer emails to be sent, so this is more specifically for the email that would be sent in the latter half of your campaign, just because obviously if you have like your at launch email, there's probably not as much opportunity for people to have purchased that quick start, but it helps bring in those people who maybe had shown interest in your crowdfunding campaign by looking at the quick start in that latter half, that last week email that you can send out. But it gives you a couple more chances then to convert customers to backers. It provides a couple more email sendings, and there's some psychology behind people needing to be able to see a thing multiple times before they're converted to purchasing an item. And so it just kind of helps increase that chance. I see Watcher's question in chat. I thought that was per year. It is per campaign for crowdfunding campaigns like you would put on like Kickstarter or BackerKit, but we do offer a once per year crowdfunding subscription email. So if you have like a Patreon or like a Ko-fi or something like that, where somebody is subscribing annually or monthly in a subscription format, we also will send out up to 1 per year for you about one of those types of crowdfunding services. The next thing I want to talk about is some of our on-site promotion tools. And basically these tools are after you've already published a thing, how can you continue to boost sales of that title. So we have an on-site promotion currency that we call publisher promotion points. And there's a couple different ways that you earn these. You earn them passively by just having a publisher account. And the amount that you earn depends whether you're an exclusive or a non-exclusive publisher. Exclusive publishers earn a couple more points per month by being exclusive with us. And then you also earn them based on your gross sales every month. And then you can use those publisher points for deal of the day, featured product messages, and banners. So for deal of the day, that's shown in this image here. Every single day, another title is pulled out of our queue in like a lottery type system. Publishers will indicate a sale price for them anywhere between like 40 to 80% off. It gets sent out in an email to anybody who's subscribed to the Deal of the Day newsletter. It shows up on our sales guide. It's on the front page banner, like very prominently. Also, anybody who is already looking at your site will be able to see that. And publishers are notified 24 hours in advance that their title has been selected. And so it gives you a little bit of time as well to put some marketing out for yourself. And Deal of the Day is also one of those things where your chance of being selected increases if you're also an exclusive partner with us. So that's another one of our bonuses if you're exclusive at DriveThru RPG. The way that I would kind of describe how these promotion tools rank in terms of, I guess, profitability is that the top one Deal of the Day takes up the most amount of publisher promotion points, but oftentimes has the best ROI. And then banners would be cost the least amount of promotion points, but are oftentimes don't bring in as much as Deal of the Day might. Featured product messages. There's an example here, the Tal'Dorei campaign setting. We have two versions of our featured product messages. There's our homepage FPM and our category FPM. So for homepage, those are going to show up on the front page of DriveThru RPG. So there's a benefit to that because more customers are going to see that. But there's also a little bit of a benefit to doing the category ones because those are based on your filters that you give your products. So if you have a game that's Pathfinder, and then you have a category FPM set up, as people are filtering down to the Pathfinder rule system, they're going to see that featured product message for your product on there. Likewise, if maybe it's a solo game and you have it listed as a solo game, as people drill down into the filters, they're going to see your featured product message show up for that. So there's some benefit to that because people are already kind of looking for the type of product that is when they see your featured product message. So they might be more likely to click. So the homepage one is a little bit more about raising awareness about your product, and featured product messages for categories are usually a little bit better for people who want to have somebody who's specifically looking for that kind of product be able to click through. And then the banners that are given through publisher promotion points are the ones that show up at the bottom of a page. What's cool about banners is they don't have to be tied specifically to a product. So like featured product messages, it has to be a title. But banners can also go to a publisher page or a subcategory. So Brooke talked a little bit earlier about subcategories and product line images that you'd have on your publisher page. You those also to link to a banner. So you can say, check out all of our Candela mysteries, and then you can have a product line for Candela products and have a link directly to that. Or you could say something like, check out this bundle, and you can also link to a bundle. We find that some of the more successful banners are ones that have some sort of like a call to action. So maybe there's a free product or a sale or a new product, something that's maybe long awaited by customers, and having, some good images and some good text that makes people want to click on it. Bundling is another great promotion tool because when you bundle, it creates basically like a new title that's holding all of your other titles. So it will grace the front page again. And also we have what we call like our previous purchaser discount. So if somebody already bought your core book and then you add in 3 adventures as part of that into that bundle, they don't have to repurchase the digital download of that core book again. So if you combine similar products together and you give them like 15% off, they don't have to buy that core book again, but they still can get the 15% off the adventures that you've included in that. So that's a really great way to get people to basically complete the set. We see that oftentimes with like core rulebook bundles. We have some publishers that do like a complete collection bundle. So they bundle together their entire product line and give a nice discount. There's some really interesting ways that you can bundle those types of things together. I usually will tell publishers, find like a title that is that has done really well, and then some kind of mid-sized titles, and then you can email using the customer email tool to let people know that there is a special discount if you purchase it in a bundle, and then target folks who have already purchased one of those titles. And they might be more likely then to complete the set because they don't have to purchase the entire bundle all over again if they already own some. And then sales are a great way also to boost your sales beyond publication day. So we do site-wide sales, so making sure that you're opt into those. Our largest site-wide sales are going to be GM's Day sale, which is actually coming up here in March. Christmas in July, which happens in July, and then our Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale in November. Those are our 3 largest site-wide sales. So making sure that your publisher account is opted into site-wide sales. That will help gain you more traffic if your titles are selected to be a part of those sales. But if for whatever reason your titles don't really fall into any of the site-wide sales that we do, you can also create your own sale using the Publisher Managed Sales tool. And what's really nice about the Managed Sales tool is we have this sales guide, and it will have your titles show up on there. And we have some customers that pretty much exclusively will shop sales. So it'll show up on there. And then also we have a new feature where there's a wish list email. So if customers have wish listed your title and the title goes on sale either through a site-wide sale or a publisher sale, then the customers will receive an email saying, hey, this title on your wish list has gone on sale. And then they can click right from their email to put it into their cart and purchase your products from there. So that's a couple of different examples. I know Brooke also posted in chat our on-site promotion tools. So if you have any questions about the specifics of some of these tools, there's some more information about all of these tools on that link. And then some different marketing resources. So how do you then understand, now that you've made the sales, how do you understand where those sales are coming from? And then also be able to earn a little money on top of that. So we have an affiliate program. If you share links from DriveThru RPG using your affiliate ID, as a publisher, you can earn an extra 8% on sales when you direct customers to us. Keep in mind that this isn't necessarily just the product that you link. So you might remember when I was talking about crowdfunding campaigns to include your affiliate ID and the source code in your quick start. And you might be saying, Kate, but that's so silly. My quick start's free. How would I earn money off of free? 8% of $0 is still $0. Well, if somebody goes to the site because they clicked on your link from your crowdfunding campaign and then thinks, oh, I have these other things on my cart, I guess I should purchase these, because you directed them to our site through your quick start, you also have the chance to earn affiliate income off of the other items that are in their cart. So anytime that you share a DriveThru RPG link off-site, make sure to include your affiliate ID, because you just never know when somebody might throw something in their cart and you might be really surprised by your affiliate income from what other people might be purchasing. Another great tip is to use our source code. So all sales come with a source code. We have some default codes in the site to let you know whether something came from one of our newsletters, from the front page, from a featured product message, or a banner. So there's a source attached to every sale that's made on site, but you can also create your custom code. So one thing that I tend to do is when I post stuff online is my source code, I'll put like cage underscore and then whatever the source is. You want to make sure that it's unique enough that you can determine that it came from you. If you just put source equals blue sky, it could be anybody who used that source. So by me using cage underscore blue sky, I know that it came from me posting on blue sky, not somebody else. So I have an example linked down here from a title. So you can see that there's an affiliate ID linked here, and also a source code. So if somebody were to use that link, I would gain 8% from that sale. And then also I would know that it came from my cool newsletter because I put and source equals Cage's cool newsletter. And on the DriveThru partner tools, there's a analyze sources tool. And I can analyze then the custom and site-wide source codes to help determine how a customer found a product. So this is actually, I pulled this, I think last year from Posthuman Studios. And so the PQ strip was sales from our Pocket Quest title strip. And then it looks like they made some sales from a footer and from a blog, from the featured product messages, from a deal of the day, and a horror RPG banner. So you can see how they kind of show up on there. So it'll show you whatever that source code is. And for the ones like featured product or deal of the day, the ones that come from our site, there is a help center link on our source analysis page that will help you define what those different source codes are. But I find it helpful for me to have an understanding where my sales come from. So that way, if I'm getting a lot of sales through Discord, I know to make sure that I'm posting whatever I've published on Discord. Yeah, we have some time for questions. If any folks have any questions, I know that there were some that were prepared in advance as well. But also, if we don't get to your question or if you think of something later, please feel free to reach out to us. Our email is partnerrel@roll20.net, partnerrel@roll20.net. And that will go to our help center. So somebody from our partner relations team will be more than happy to help you there. We also have a Discord server specifically for DriveThru RPG publishers, Roll20 marketplace publishers, community content creators like on the DMs Guild or Pathfinder Infinite. And you can get to that by going to discord.gg/rollthrough, and that'll bring you to our partner and creator specific Discord server.
Yeah. And one thing I also want to add about crowdfunding, crowdfunding with DriveThru is great if you don't want to have any part of the process of fulfillment, which can be such a complicated and difficult thing. So DriveThru will handle all of the delivering of PDFs. They will be able to print and ship out your print-on-demand books without you having to warehouse or worry about any of that. So it's something that we highly recommend DriveThru for people who want to be more hands-off and not have to deal with physical items. That can always make a Kickstarter a bit difficult to fulfill. So highly recommend. And I also learned a lot of new things, Cage. I'm glad you gave that part of the presentation this time. I was like, oh yeah, noted.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
And now we return. If I have done so correctly, you should be able to hear all three of us. If you haven't, which wouldn't surprise me, then I will fix it here in a moment. We did get some questions in the email, which I'm happy to share with you, but there are a couple in chat that we can start with. One is slightly on the more technical end. We'll go to Malcolm Fett for Life, who's asking, how can I check how my titles look in dark mode? I cannot seem to find the setting, which seems like an easy thing we can knock out right off the bat.
Yeah, Malcolm, you're just going to want to make sure that you're using our new site that we call Phoenix. So if you ever hear us mention Phoenix, that's what the new site is called. So as long as it says www on your DriveThru page, then you're looking at Phoenix. If it says legacy that means you're still looking at our old site. So once you're on the new site, you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, and there should be a toggle to switch between light and dark mode. So you should be able to find that there, and you just check out your title, and you can flip between the two and see how your title or your partner page looks in either setting.
Get that out of the way, because I figure Malcolm can go do that now, and if it's not working, we can come back and try to
Yeah, feel free to let us know if my instructions don't make sense.
And then next time we have questions in 3 categories, and I guess I'll just throw them at you, and you can decide which one we're going to start with. We've got some product page optimization questions, some sales and marketing questions, and some customer engagement / long-term drive-thruing questions. Anything that leaps out to you that you want to start with?
I think that order is great. It kind of mirrors our presentation as well. So let's just dive in.
Oh, that was not intentional, but quite clever on my part. Then
We'll just pretend it was on purpose.
Yeah. Then the one that kind of leapt out most to me, I'm an actual play person in my real life, and discoverability standing out is the hardest thing in the world to kind of conceptualize. This question comes from a D&D creator, and they want to know, like, what can I do to make my product stand out from the hundreds of pages of search results? So we know you talked about having a nice cover image, but like if I DriveThru RPG search D&D subclasses, I am going to be in an avalanche. If I'm making those, how can I up my odds?
Yeah, so like Brooke talked about at the beginning of the presentation, having a great cover can be really helpful, making sure that people can see from the thumbnail what it is that you're selling. Sometimes the covers aren't very telling, and that can be really tricky because if the title doesn't quite tell you what the product is, and if the cover doesn't really quite tell you what the product is, people are going to be way less likely to click it. And in order to get them to your product description that tells you at length what the product is about, they got to have an understanding from the thumbnail or from your title what that is. And so there's a little bit of kind of an SEO strategy in this too, of like including in the name of your title information about what the product is. So like, for example, if you look at any of the Renegade Games titles, they're the ones that will publish like Vampire the Masquerade or any of their Essence 20 games like My Little Pony or Power Rangers. All of them are going to say the system name in it. They're going to say Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition role-playing game, and then the name of the book. And then if there's like a subsect onto that, like if it's a source book, it's going to say source book. If it's like I don't know, I'm trying to think of what their other category types are.
Adventure, map.
Yeah. So if it's like a chronicle book or whatever, it's going to say that as part of the title. So if you're selling a D&D subclass and you don't say that it's a 5th edition subclass in your title, that might cause some problems for people to understand what it is that they're purchasing.
Yeah.
And also making sure that it's properly filtered, so people will drill down into those filters. So if you don't have, 5th edition selected as a rule system, and you don't have it marked as a player option, subclass, then it's going to be much harder for a customer to find that product.
Yep. And if you look in, like, when you search up a game on Google, DriveThru RPG often will be one of those top results. And a lot of that is informed by what you include in your title and your product description. So everything I mentioned about accurately describing the system that it's designed for, what type of product, what comes with it, mentioning all of that in your product description is also really great for search engine optimization as well. So just don't create a one-line product description and hope people will find it. Definitely talk in length about whatever it is you've made and help people find it more easily.
Yeah, and feel free to include like the title of your product in your product description. That's only going to help you with that search engine optimization as well.
That was another question on the list. Lots of people wondering, like, what are the magic keywords that I can use because no one knows I exist? And I know you touched very heavily on that in the presentation, but now hearing it again is doubly good. Nobody likes SEO, but it's the game that we have to play. This does tie a bit the product page and sales and marketing together. This person, I'm led to believe by their email, has a series of things that go together. They're making an adventure that has digital maps and VTT assets and some custom handouts. And what they want to know is it better for them to sell the PDF for $5 to $10 and then have a pack that you can buy extra that includes those other things for like $3 to $5? Or is the product better? Does it stand out more? Does it seem like a better bargain if they say, here's my adventure, it comes with VTT assets and custom handouts and little minis that are already set up for a non-specific program that allows you to make minis? Do you have any sense of which of those is the better way to approach giving customers that kind of content?
I
We
think my
touched a
first.
little bit.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Brooke.
I was going to say we touched on this a little bit in the presentation when Cage mentioned bundling. And I love bundling for this reason. One thing I would suggest is if it is required to enjoy your product to the fullest, include it in the primary listing. If it's just an extra bonus, like, hey, all of this is set up for Roll20. You can actually bundle those two items together and give customers a discount. So when they get both of them, they can get 15-20% off. This will let people get access to even more of your content across different platforms. Even you can sell Roll20 products on DriveThru and also on the DMs Guild and any community content platform. But once you do that, if the customer has already purchased your PDF, for example, they will get that discount as we had mentioned previously. And so it's just a good deal all around when you have such a huge value that you're offering.
Yeah, I think like what I was going to say is like my first question would be is like how important is it to have this optional like this content with your main product? Like is it required to play? Then put it all in the one thing. You can have multiple digital download files as part of a single title. So don't feel like you can't add in the PDF and a zip file of map packs and a zip file of tokens or whatever the case might be. Like if it's required to play, then put it all in one. It'll make your customers just like you less if they don't have to go searching for everything. But like Brooke said, bundling is a really great tool. And also like if they're generic enough, people will buy them even if they don't necessarily need your main core book. And that can be a bonus. If they are maps that aren't like, this is this really specific town with these like really specific things happening. If it's like, this is a fantasy town and here are some fantasy tokens, people will buy that just to play with. So don't feel compelled to have to include it if you think that it could warrant a sale on its own.
Feels like there's a tension in a lot of the emails that was covering the price paralysis. So $3, that can be like a non-amount of money for someone. I will take a risk for $3 that I won't take for $10. And so do you split them up? Do you keep them together? But I appreciate you providing some clarity there. And yeah, the bundles that's one. So the bundles I knew about. The thing that I did not know and learned about today was the embedded YouTube videos. And the idea, like, sorry, I got distracted because that's the thing that I've learned. I would love to see, if you are watching this video, make more YouTube videos for your DriveThru RPG page. That is my charge to you.
Yeah, and we see that used in a lot of different ways. I know Brooke covered some of them, but like sometimes people will do like a how do you play this game? I've also seen publishers who have a print on demand version of their title, literally just have a camera facing their desk and they just like flip through the book so people can see what the print format looks like, what how big it is it hardcover or whatever, like what does the quality of that look like. I've seen people do that. I've seen before where folks have had people do reviews of their game and then they'll upload that review video. So there's a lot of different ways that that people will utilize that YouTube preview. Or actual plays. If somebody has run an actual play of your game, you could post that as well.
I love a good tutorial also. If you can give me 5 minutes of how your game works, because I'm going to read it and get it wrong, and I don't want to have to go learn the hard way. That's a me tip. I am not an expert, but I would appreciate it. Returning to expertise, though, you talked both about your affiliate marketing links and then also different ways to contact customers. There were a lot of emails about where do I focus my offsite marketing. There are like Twitter is a mess, then Blue Sky, how do I find people? Do you have a sense of the places where the most traffic is coming from? If I wanted to sell my game, should I surreptitiously ingratiate myself to rpg.net or some other website? The example's not coming to mind.
So we do know that one of the number one ways that we get new customers is through just a good old Google search. So keeping in mind the search engine optimization stuff that we've talked about already is going to be like one of the biggest things. Also, people who navigate directly to DriveThru RPG, so they're finding those links, or there's word of mouth sharing a link around. That's going to be another really big way. As far as social media goes, most recently, some of the top ones are going to be Facebook, YouTube, Reddit, and Blue Sky. But honestly, and there's others in that mix as well. But it starts to kind of be it's about the same, right? And it's going to really depend on where your community is. Like if you don't have a community on Instagram and then all of a sudden you start posting on Instagram, the chances of you getting conversions on Instagram are probably less likely than if you already have a community of hundreds of people on Discord. And so that's really going to depend also on what type of game you're doing. Like there are some really strong Facebook groups around certain rule systems. So if you are, I mean, and even more specific than that, like if you're making Ravenloft content, there's like Ravenloft Facebook groups that people love to hear about new content on, or I'm sure there's subreddits. I'm not really a Redditor myself, but I mean, so sometimes it's a matter of finding those really specific communities and also making sure that you follow any rules they have on promoting commercial content in them. Don't get yourself modded out. But really, it becomes kind of like at a point they're all around kind of the same.
Yeah, I also want to mention focus on where you enjoy creating content too. That'll go a long way. If you love creating long form videos, YouTube is going to be your platform. But if you prefer writing, then I would go with a Reddit angle. So, at the end of the day, like Cage mentioned, people will come in from any social media platform to support you if they're really interested and care about what you do. So build that community where you enjoy being the most online and, people will follow from there.
I've definitely have heard people be like, "Oh, I hate creating content for TikTok." And I'm like, "Then don't." Like people aren't going to love watching your TikTok videos if you're like, "Here's another TikTok video about my latest game." Like people aren't going to watch that all the way through. Yep. So if you can talk about your product in a way that really excites you on a platform, pick that platform.
That's excellent advice. The pressure, like, oh, everyone's on TikTok, and you feel the need to go, but that is not always the correct move. Like, not a TikTok guy. So, there's one small question coming up in chat. Malcolm asks, does the YouTube preview show in your product description?
Yes. Okay. So you're allowed up to one embedded YouTube preview, and the link gets added at the very bottom of the title edit page, and it embeds at the bottom of the product description as well.
Excellent. Returning to sales and marketing for a moment, this is another pricing question. How does the pay what you want model perform compared to fixed pricing for indie products? This person is essentially, they ask specifically, like, is it better to say pay what you want or $1? Like, which of those is going to get in the right direction? But I expect you can also expand on that.
Yeah, I mean, overall, we, for the most part, recommend either you're doing free or fixed pricing. It helps put a value to the product that you're providing, and there's a little bit of like psychology behind putting the pressure on the customer to decide how much your product is worth. And what we've kind of seen on DriveThru RPG is if you post a pay what you want product, the majority of people are going to download it for free. So at that point, you might just be okay with just having the product free. It does kind of act a little bit like a tip jar, which is okay if that's what you want to do. I'm not saying that there's anything against the pay what you want method. I have a title up that's pay what you want as well. But if you have a product that you put substantial time into, I would absolutely recommend doing a fixed pricing on that. Additionally, if you are planning on adding a print-on-demand format, I would definitely recommend a fixed pricing. Currently, our site does not allow for pay-what-you-want digital download with a fixed pricing print-on-demand. So by doing pay-what-you-want on your digital file, you're also doing pay-what-you-want on the margin of your print file, in which case you might be putting in all that work to create print-on-demand, print-ready files and not seeing anything from it. So that would be my recommendation for that kind of piece. And a couple like marketing notes as well is that we can't accept pay what you want titles into our DriveThru weekly news release newsletter just because of the way that the newsletter is set up. You also wouldn't be able to submit it for a deal of the day. You can't really put a sale on something that's for free. So if you feel like people would purchase it for a fixed dollar amount, I would recommend putting that as a fixed dollar amount, and you can always run a sale on it later if you want to be able to offer it at a cheaper price. But one thing that is nice about free or pay what you want titles is it's great for expanding your customer newsletter, because even if people paid $0 for it, they get captured as a customer for you on DriveThru RPG. So there's pros and cons to both, and it really depends on whether you want it to gather customers and you don't mind that people aren't paying you anything for it. But if you want to be able to market it better, and you want to be able to, have sales on it or things like that, then I would absolutely recommend a fixed pricing for something like that.
Yeah, and for pricing, the biggest consideration is typically our like under $5, which we're experimenting with increasing the price of that. Being able to get up on that banner will also give you a lot of exposure. So when it comes to should this be pay what you want or free or paid, you could always aim for that under $5 category if you feel like your product, fits in that $0 to $4.99 range. Or you can just make it free. Like Cage said, a lot of people will go ahead and download that and be added to your mailing list, so you can reach out to them. If you put in effort into something, we always recommend putting a price on it, because you deserve to be paid for your hard work.
Yeah. And what Brooke kind of said too made me think about, like, if you're planning on making additional content related to this title, it's probably not bad to do like a $0, and then you can reach out to those customers to be like, and then we also released an adventure based on this thing that you have already downloaded. So you can kind of use it as like a way to convert future sales. Sometimes it's about getting people through the door first.
Excellent. I can roll. I'm looking into chat. I don't see anything new, so I can roll right into the next one. It's about 7:10, but if you have time for 2 more questions. Excellent. So this is dipping more into the customer engagement part of things. This person is, there was a sense of anxiety in this email about putting their product up on the internet, and then the internet, with like the capital I brackets derogatory, interacting with it. So what are the most common complaints that creators are receiving from customers, and are there like proactive steps that you can take to address those? I think there's like some expectation management lurking in this question, but
Yeah. So partner relations also gets reports from customers. So when someone is clicking like report a title, those get sent to us as well, just in case we need to reach out to the publisher. So we do see these. And a really common customer complaints that we get are when products are misdescribed or misfiltered. So something has the wrong language tag, or it is the wrong genre or rule system tag. So this goes back to what I had previously recommended about creating a really accurate product description and product page. That will go a long way in people being like, oh, you lied. This wasn't what you described it as at all. Just be really honest about what you're offering, and people will be happy because they bought something that they knew what it was exactly.
And it's tied into that the previews part is part of that too. Like if you provide a few pages of a preview, then customers aren't like, well, I bought this and there was art in the description and there's no art in this book. What gives,
Yeah. Even just a couple pages will be enough to let someone know, like, oh, I'm totally on board with this. This is what I want. You just don't want anyone to feel like they were misled when they purchased the product. And the other common customer complaint we receive is like the wrong assets are uploaded. Like this PDF that was promised isn't here. Something is missing, a map or an image. And so that's why we always recommend publishers be checking back in on any comments they receive. People will notify you, and probably in a nice way, like, hey, there's a typo here, or, this piece is missing from your book. And then you can just go in and fix that. I've had that happen on a product of my own, and I was like, thank you. So, don't be afraid to go into the comments. Most people are acting out of, like respect, and they just want to see you succeed, and they just want to get the product that you have made for them. So don't be afraid of that.
Yeah. And a note on that too, we actually have a new tool. It's our first publisher tool on our Phoenix site that's called the Reply To tool. And you can find that on your publisher hub at the very bottom of the promotion section. And basically what that'll do is open up the Phoenix page to show you all of your reviews and comments on any of your publisher products. So it'll help you not miss when somebody maybe has said something like what Brooke was talking about, where maybe you might have missed something in your product.
Excellent. The next question, I think, is the other side of this. The person who we had the question from the person who's just starting, and this is the question from the person who appears to have already made some mistakes. What is the way to properly manage reviews? Do you have tips on how to respond to or interact with negative feedback? This person, they looks like they have a product that got kind of an icy reception, and now people see this publisher, they put out one bad thing, they're not going to look at the next thing, and they're trying to see how do I rehabilitate myself in the review ecosystem.
Engaging really honestly with your reviews is a good first step. You know, what one customer might not like, another customer might really love about your product. So even if someone is like 1 star because XYZ, someone else might read that review and think to themselves, oh, hey, like that's actually right up my alley. So we recommend replying to these reviews to at least say, like, you know, thank you for your feedback. If they gave you constructive criticism that you think to yourself, actually, yeah, maybe that would improve my product, you can always make those adjustments and then reply to the review and say, hey, like, you know, I agree with you. I've changed this. And so hopefully now you enjoy your experience with my product more. And then they might go back in and change their star rating after the fact. So it's a process that you can continue to work on and update your product with DriveThru. There's a feature where if you update your product's files, you can send an email to everyone who has the product saying, hey, like, you know, I've added a version 2 to this product. And so everyone who's previously purchased it or downloaded it will receive that notification to download the new version. And so if you're going back in and making adjustments or changing things to better suit the customer experience, that's one way to sort of fix that star rating. And of course, to just continue to publish products. Of course, you know, having one product with like slightly negative review is going to weigh really heavily on your overall publisher star rating. But having a ton of products, you know, will make one bad review here and there not as impactful. So definitely be engaging honestly with people and think to yourself, like, is this valid feedback? And if not, this wasn't for this person, but someone else might come along and really like it.
And Kate, did you have anything to add?
No, I think that was pretty well covered.
Because if not, that is the end of my list. There are this is the second above the table talk that we've given, and what has impressed me so much is that I will get probably 20 or 30 questions in advance of the talk, and then y'all are just nailing it. Like, you know exactly what people are trying to figure out. So like, questions got asked, they were answered in the chat. It's really great to see that coming together.
Yeah, and just for folks who are watching this recording later, we did have an additional question about whether or not there's official DriveThru banner artwork that can be used to link to your products from your own website. And we do have them in our Help Center. There's a Roll20 and DriveThru Graphics Help Center page that has a bunch of different graphics that you can use on your website, in your promotional materials. We have stuff that say like exclusively on, or we have crowdfunding graphics that you can use to say that you're fulfilling through us. And I know like on my website, I have like a little DriveThru decal and like a little DMs Guild decal where people can then click into that and get to my publisher page. Like I said in chat, don't forget then to add your affiliate ID and source codes to those images. So when people click from your website, you can get credit for that and also know where they came from.
So I will be making a point to scrape the Twitch chat and put these links in the show notes on YouTube along with the contact information for Cage and Brooke. So if you're watching on YouTube and you're panicking because you cannot find the link to this, it's in the show notes. And if it's not, blame future Aaron. Send me an email. I'll fix it. That aside, thank you so much for sharing your expertise, for removing some of the mystery from the great universe of publishing independent role-playing games. For those of you at home who are in the business of publishing independent role-playing games, I would like you to know we are currently accepting applications for our 2025 independent game grant cycle. We are looking to give 5 to 7 people up to $500 to get art or editing or layout services, sensitivity consulting, anything that can help you get a project that is like 90% finished to 100% finished, at which point you can upload it to our good friends at DriveThru RPG. And begin selling. The link to that application is, you can find it on our social media for sure. You can also go to our website, tabletopartsfund.org. If you are not a publisher and you just like hearing people talk about things, we'll be back next month with Wythe Marshall, who's going to be talking about how to manage tone and narrative in your game. What makes a cyberpunk game feel cyberpunk in your hands with the dice, and going through a bunch of genres, thinking about that. In the meantime, in between time, if this were live, I would be asking everyone in the room to stand up to give a thunderous round of applause to our guests. If you are at home, you just want to do that for yourself, for the immersion, by all means, please do. But else, thank you so much again, Cage and Brooke. It was great to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Alrighty, well, that's all I've got from me. See you on YouTube. See you in the future. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.